Saskatchewan politicians return to the legislature as the fall sitting begins. The latest from court is a man stands trial for the 2006 death of Misha Pavlik, and all signs point to the first concert at Mosaic Stadium in 6 years.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. From safety and addictions to trade and tailgating, we're finding out exactly what the Saskatchewan government is planning for the province in the fall sitting of the legislature. The session will run until early December. Wayne Mantika has the preview of what you'll see.
The throne speech comes in the midst of economic uncertainty created by American and Chinese tariffs.
Our government will continue to make every effort to work collaboratively with the federal government toward our shared goals of a strong and growing Saskatchewan within a strong and united Canada.
In outlining its plans for the year ahead, the government said it will introduce compassionate care legislation that would force a limited number of addicts into treatment.
Introducing legislation that will require individuals who may be a threat to themselves or others to enter into addictions program, ensuring that they get the help that they need while keeping our communities safe and secure.
The move has the support of some in the inner city who have witnessed the impact of drug addiction in the area.
There's all kinds of treatment centers out there for everybody, even people on alcoholism.
I think it would be a good idea to help them out and, assess them and see what really is the real problem with them, what they really need help with.
It would benefit everyone because it'll take them off the street. It would put them in the right direction.
The throne speech also promises to work with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in developing a framework for tailgate parties at games.
Could we look at some enabling regulations that are in this space? And we thought, well, why not?
That idea has the support of many Rider fans.
Yeah, I mean, the more fans involved and coming to the games, all the better.
Yeah, I might go. I think it's okay. No problem.
Totally enjoy a tailgate system. Kind of like, I think Calgary has it. A few other places have it, and that would be fun.
Over the months ahead, the government will also have to address the economic consequences of tariffs. The Premier says the impact will be felt on government finances, both federally and provincially. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Meanwhile, multiple protests were held outside the legislative building today, the first a demonstration against austerity by the Regina Anti-Poverty Ministry. Both advocates and the NDP are pushing for the provincial government to address issues with homelessness, childcare, and rent control in the province.
The biggest piece of rent control legislation is going to be the need to cap the amount that rents can be increased in a given year. We've seen rental increases in the 20-30% range over the course of the year, and that just basically throws people out into the street.
That was not the only protest of the day. There was also a pro-Palestine protest over Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe's cooperation with Israel. It stems from Moe meeting Israel's ambassador to Canada last month to discuss the future of the economic relationship between Israel and Saskatchewan. Those attending the protests say Saskatchewan shouldn't be taking a position like this when it comes to Israel.
I think people are really frustrated with Premier Moe in that he's the only premier that has come out publicly and expressed wanting to expand trade with Israel with these war crimes, genocide. Why else would you do that? No other premier's done that. Prime Minister Mark Carney has not expressed a desire to expand trade with Israel, and that's a political position that he's taking.
In a post about the meeting with Israel's ambassador to Canada, the Premier said discussions focused on technological cooperation and market diversification. Moe adding he was confident in the strong mutual opportunities and future of Saskatchewan-Israel relations. Hundreds of healthcare workers at Saskatoon's Royal University Hospital are sounding the alarm over overcrowding in emergency rooms, calling on the province to take immediate action. CTV's Stacey Hine reports.
paramount concern is the growing impact of overcrowding on patient safety.
Sarah Peters, along with hundreds of other healthcare workers at Royal University Hospital, is calling for immediate action to address overcrowding and hallway care in the emergency department.
We felt that we needed to pause and reflect on the current state of healthcare in Saskatchewan, and it's heavily reflected in what goes on in the emergency department.
She penned a letter to the province detailing the concerns, backed by 450 signatures.
The current direction and mandates and incentives that the government's doing is just not being as effective as we hoped it be.
Premier Scott Moe says the province is taking action to address healthcare concerns.
And I thank them for using their voice and raising these important issues. And what I would say is this very much parallels largely with what we've heard from Saskatchewan people over the course of the past year.
Health Minister Jeremy Cockrell says the main focus is recruiting and retaining healthcare workers.
What is going to help, I think, the most is making sure that, the incredible doctors and nursing and other staff across our system have more people on their team.
The Saskatchewan Union of Nurses says the province needs to act on the solutions outlined in the letter.
Kudos to the courage to speak up, and we're hoping to continue that conversation and make sure that there is a response with actual actions attached to it.
Peters says some solutions can be implemented immediately. She hopes the letter sparks change as everyone works towards a common goal.
We want to create change, and it very much aligns with what the government's mandate is. We're all about patient care. Everybody wants patient care to improve.
Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
And that call for action comes as a new report suggests Canada is burning through its younger nurses at an alarming rate, and Saskatchewan is no exception. Think tank MEI has found for every 100 nurses under the age of 35 who registered to practice, 40 others did not renew their registration in 2023. In Saskatchewan, 38 nurses under 35 left the profession for every 100 who entered it in 2023. The report also says vacancies for nursing jobs have tripled nationwide over a 5-year span and were nearly 42,000 2 years ago. The authors said the findings show the importance of offering staffing flexibility to keep younger nurses in the profession. The University of Regina has released a statement following a controversial dissolution vote by the U of R Students' Union yesterday. The U of R's president said that it recognizes students were disappointed by URSU only offering online participation, with some students unable to join the meeting. He reiterated the university has not dispersed any student funds to URSU as of the fall semester and continues to provide core student services and funding to groups that rely on student fees. University leadership added it will work with student leadership that will act in the best interest of students. Nuclear energy is likely to play a major role for any country hoping to make net zero emissions a reality. That's the message from the CEO of Cameco, a major player in uranium mining, to a room full of stakeholders in the nuclear sector at a conference in Saskatoon today. Keenan Sorokan takes us there.
Recent history hasn't been easy for Saskatchewan's nuclear industry. Following the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster in 2011, demand for uranium plummeted, and Cameco CEO Tim Gitzel was forced to lay off thousands of workers. Today, Saskatchewan's outlook is dramatically different.
Today, we're living in a moment of what I would call unprecedented momentum for nuclear power, the likes of which I have not seen in over 40 years in this business.
With global economies looking towards net zero and sustainable energy, as well as the massive demand for electricity in the race to artificial intelligence, nuclear energy is now part of the conversation.
Nuclear energy stepping forward not quietly, but confidently as a cornerstone solution for the world.
The province established 4 research chairs at different Saskatchewan post-secondaries to help support the growth of nuclear energy. With plans for small modular reactors, Premier Scott Moe hopes nuclear energy will eventually be powering Saskatchewan.
So it's an exciting time, an exciting time for the world as we, I think, truly have direction on how we're going to work together to provide global energy security. An exciting time for North America America, despite the very difficult discussions that are happening.
Despite being a landlocked province with a relatively small population, leaders here are taking notice of Saskatchewan welcoming and powering nuclear energy.
People are seeing Saskatchewan as a leader that's going to play a very important role, not only in the province, but also beyond.
Keenan Sorakan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Police were called to Saskatoon's Court of King's Bench today amid concerns for a Crown witness on their safety on day 3 of Andrew Rosenfeld's murder trial. Officers arrived as a former gang member took the stand, prosecutors saying information had gotten out about her testimony, the judge reminding the gallery about potential safety concerns and urging visitors not to take advantage of what's being said in court. Rosenfeld is accused of killing Nakira Brown, his girlfriend, in 2022. He's pleaded not guilty to a charge of second-degree murder. Testimony continues in the trial of a man accused of killing Misha Pavlik. The first witnesses of the day said they recall a fight happening where Pavlik threw a beer bottle towards someone, initiating one of the many fights that broke out that night. A witness also told court he saw Pavlik face down on the ground as 2 men were kicking him. Gesturing to the court, Pavlik was using his hands to cover his head. The party took place at a campground near Last Mountain Lake on May 21st, 2006. The last witness of the day identified the names of the group of boys who assaulted Pavlik that evening, one of them being the accused. However, the defense argued the witness's testimony contradicted her statements given to police in 2006 and in 2015 over the course of the long investigation. The trial will continue tomorrow morning, beginning with the defense counsel's cross-examination. Time now to check in with Sabine Ahmed in the Weather Center for us tonight. Sabine, the sun finally came back today, and you could really just feel that good energy.
Yeah, hard to believe we're entering into the end of October, and everyone felt alive today, Cole. The sun was out, and it continues to stick around as we head into the rest of this week and into the weekend, Cole. Temperatures climbing above the average usually about +9, +10, depending on where you are in the province. But there wasn't a whole lot to show when it comes to active weather. Mostly clear conditions. Started out the day a little frosty, depending on where you were in Saskatchewan, and a little cloudy. But after that, as you can see, even right now, our current temperature is still quite warm. The warmest, of course, being the lighter green in that southwest corner, 15 in Maple Creek right now, and then cooling gradually as we head into the northwest there. Again, our lows usually are averaging around about -3, and that we will actually start to see warm up and actually be quite warm for the lows over the next couple of days. And even that 13-degree high that we hit today, expect it to only get warmer as we head into tomorrow as well. But I'll have all those details in your forecast. Cole?
Awesome. Thanks, Sabine. Well, it's been more than 6 years since a concert was held at Mosaic Stadium, but it seems that streak will be over soon. First, a sign showing the logo for the alternative rock band Foo Fighters appearing on the Maxtron at Mosaic Stadium. Then a post from the Real District showing rider jerseys with last names of the band members. Real has scheduled a, quote, major announcement for tomorrow morning at the stadium. We'll have the latest for you online at ctvnews.ca/Regina as soon as anything becomes official. An anonymous gift is helping young children learn to walk. Mick Favel tells us more about a Canadian-made machine now available for Regina kids with mobility challenges.
When Leo was 6 months old, he was diagnosed with a genetic disorder which would likely impact his ability to walk. 3 years later, with the help of the Trexel walking device, Leo was in motion, taking a walk around the First Steps Wellness Center.
With a little bit therapies, we kind of got where he's right now. He is making some huge progress. With having the machine here, basically, it is helping us a lot.
The device is designed for children with mobility challenges. Kids at the center with cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, spinal cord injuries, and other neuromuscular conditions will be using the device. Those at the center say the new addition has revolutionized their child therapy program.
We are the first one in Saskatchewan that has one. We're the first nonprofit charity in all of Canada that has one. And there's only a handful of devices across the country. They're probably becoming more popular, but they are quite expensive because it's some very new and innovative technology.
Weight and height are factors for those those who can use the machine. The child is seated inside with their waist and feet strapped in. Small motors at the waist and knees then propel the motion. Information on how they're doing is then fed back to the operator.
The machine doesn't force them through any movements. Like, it's all super gentle, and it lets me know how they're doing, if they're fighting it, if they're helping it. The super cool thing about it is, you see with the iPad, we can adjust everything on the fly. So if the kids, just something isn't walking right, it's just a super quick fix.
Right now, there are spots open at the Center for Children who would benefit from the walking machine. It's one more device that can help clients pursue independence and a better quality of life.
We think it's remarkable. However, we also believe that the secret sauce to our facility and our organization is our staff. So the Trexo is just call it another tool on our tool belt, combined with other methods and other pieces of equipment we use to help kids regain function.
The Trexo walking device was gifted to the center by an anonymous donor. For kids like Leo, being able to put one foot in front of the other is priceless. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
The First Nations University of Canada held an event to celebrate its updated Newaskin Traditional Campus today. The land-based education campus is located north of the South Saskatchewan River near St. Louis. The renewal, including water infrastructure, was funded through the provincial and federal governments for $2.4 million. The First Nations University contributed $1 million. The campus has been active since 2021 and will continue to serve as a permanent land-based learning environment for university members, students, and elders.
Of course, there's teaching involved, there's storytelling, but there's also that holistic support that occurs here.
The Newaskin campus is the newest of the First Nations University's 4 campuses. Still ahead with the budget less than 2 weeks away, we'll hear from the Prime Minister on the economy and a preview on a potential bail reform announcement tomorrow.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Saskatchewan, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
Prime Minister Mark Carney spent the day meeting with leaders of the Bloc and the Conservative Party as the federal government prepares to deliver its budget in less than 2 weeks' time. CTV's Mike Couture sets the scene.
What is the message you hope to convey to Canadians tonight with your address?
The message will be conveyed in the address. But
the Prime Minister was tight-lipped ahead of his evening speech, which is being given to students who are entering the workforce at a moment of rupture in our history.
We have to make major investments in our economic capacity and our trade capacity. And I haven't seen the speech, but I'm sure he'll be talking about some of those things.
CTV News has learned the speech will focus on 4 themes: diversifying trade partners away from the U.S., a new talent and immigration plan to fill the workforce's needs, climate, and the core principle of the budget, to spend less and invest more. After an early morning meeting with the Prime Minister, the leader of the Bloc Québécois said his MPs will support the budget if some key demands are met, including increasing health transfers to the provinces by more than $11 billion.
It's their responsibility and only theirs to find somebody to vote with them. They know our conditions, and if they wake up a little bit late, it's once again their problem.
Ahead of his meeting with the Prime Minister, the Conservative leader was open to collaboration.
And if he takes my suggestions of bringing down the deficit to the level the Liberal government promised, of getting rid of the hidden taxes on food, well, then let's have a look at it.
Now, if the Liberals can't get opposition support for November's budget, the government would fall, and there would be the second election in just 7 months. But multiple MPs say Canadians aren't in the mood for that. Mike Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Justice Minister Sean Fraser will hold a news conference tomorrow on bail reform legislation targeting violent offenders. If passed, the new rules would make it harder for people accused of serious crimes, including sexual assault and violent robberies, to get out of jail while they await trial. The proposed bill would also eliminate conditional sentences for some sex crimes and allow for consecutive sentences. Critics of the current legislation have argued judges are too lenient and often release repeat offenders, allowing them to commit more crimes. Alberta's government House Leader is not saying if or when the province could use back-to-work legislation to end the teachers' strike in that province.
I'm not going to wade into hypothetical waters at the moment. Again, if necessary, we'll do what is required to get kids back in the classroom. But for the moment, I wouldn't have anything else to comment on it.
Last week, Premier Danielle Smith said teachers can expect back-to-work legislation soon because the walkout is causing, quote, irreparable harm to students. Negotiations are at a standstill with teachers and the province divided over wages, working conditions, and overcrowding in classrooms. The Alberta Teachers Union says they're talking to lawyers to determine next steps. Ukrainian officials say Russia launched a massive drone and missile attack across Ukraine, killing at least 6 people. At least 8 cities were struck, including the capital, where 29 were injured. The wider Kyiv region was also targeted, as well as Zaporizhia and a city in the southern Odessa region. The country's energy infrastructure was also hit, causing rolling blackouts. U.S.-led efforts to end the war have floundered, and Ukraine's president has appealed for more military help. The International Court of Justice says Israel must allow a UN aid agency in Gaza to provide humanitarian assistance. The court was asked last year by the UN General Assembly to determine Israel's legal obligations after the agency, known as UNRWA, was effectively banned from operating in the territory. Israel has denied it violated international law, saying the court's proceedings are biased. It insists the organization is infiltrated by Hamas, which the agency denies. Today's advisory opinion from the World Court was issued as a fragile ceasefire agreement continues holding. Marine researchers in BC had a whale of a time documenting their latest encounter thanks to a first sighting of a new calf in the Strait of Georgia. The Centre for Whale Research released these images of the J-pod with its newest calf called J64. Researchers say the new calf is not quite popping out of the water but is behaving normally. The next 2 youngest calves were also spotted, seemingly very active and playful. After the break, your full forecast with Sabine, plus why Canadians are spending more on Halloween candy this year.
Tomorrow on CTV's Your Morning Saskatchewan, we're previewing A Country Christmas. Singer Beverly Mahood previews a star-studded holiday concert coming to Saskatchewan. You won't want to miss it.
Welcome back. A beautiful look outside through our Skycam brought to you by the Hospitals of Regina Foundation Home Lottery. The early bird deadline is this Friday. Just a friendly reminder there. And also a beautiful shot of Mosaic Stadium. A lot of chatter happening about Mosaic Stadium and lots happening this weekend as the Riders take on BC. Kickoff at 5 o'clock. I'll talk more about that in just a second. For now, let's talk about what we experienced today, which was a very nice day. A lot of sunshine, above average temperatures for the day in many parts of Saskatchewan, not just in Regina. Currently sitting at 10 degrees in Regina, calm winds, and we didn't really see the winds pick up for much of the day, and that will change a little as we head into tomorrow. But the temperatures are going to continue to be warmer than average as we head into the last half or back end of the week. You know what I'm saying. In terms of active weather, what we saw come through, not a whole lot. So there's nothing to show you on the radar satellite. But what's to come, very similar to what we experienced today. So we will continue to see a little bit of the clouds rolling in and out of the province. But for most of Saskatchewan and for much of the next few days, we're going to continue to see mainly sunny conditions. To start your day off tomorrow, some parts of the province tomorrow will see some clouds rolling in. And then later in the morning, early afternoon, we'll see most of those clouds clear out until we get back into Friday morning, where again, you can see around, particularly in the Parkland and even in the southwest, could see a little bit of light cloud covers, but that'll clear out again, leaving us with a very sunny Friday expected. It's not until we get into Saturday that we will start to see a mix of sun and cloud conditions. So not as sunny, but still expecting to see the sun sticking around. And on Saturday, looks like it's going to be the warmest day of the next 7 days for sure. Now heading into tomorrow, Actually, even tonight, we're going to see some above seasonal temperatures. Lows around this time of year sitting at -3. Far north, La Loche, La Ronge, we're still seeing above zero temperatures for the lows. And tomorrow, right within that seasonal range, 9 degrees for La Loche and La Ronge tomorrow, seeing a mix of sun and cloud. Into double digits for Lloydminster, +11, a mix of sun and cloud. 12 degrees and a mix of sun and cloud for Prince Albert. And similar temperatures for North Battleford, 11. Saskatoon, mainly sunny tomorrow, 12. And 12 and mainly sunny for Yorkton. The southwest, even warmer, 17 and sunny for Maple Creek. 6 degrees is the low tonight. 16 tomorrow and sunny for Swift Current and Moose Jaw, and the southeast. Similar, looking at those mid-teen temperatures, so 15 and sunny for Weyburn and for Estevan. And for Assiniboia, warming up to 16 tomorrow and sunny there. For Regina tonight, we will dip below zero to about -2. Clear conditions tonight and clear conditions continuing as we head into tomorrow. But you will notice the winds picking up anywhere between 30 to 40 tomorrow. Shouldn't see very strong wind gusts, so the winds will be, you'll notice them. Compared to today, 13 is the expected high tomorrow. And that's just the beginning of the warm-up as we head into the rest of the week. Taking a look at your 7 days, even the lows will be sitting above average and above zero. 13 tomorrow, sunny there. Friday, 17 and sunny, and Saturday, 19 is the expected high for October 25th. Again, the BC Lions visiting Mosaic Stadium. Riders kickoff is at 5 o'clock, so with a daytime high of about 19 degrees, by the time 5 o'clock hits, we're still going to be sitting in the double digits, so you may want to have a light jacket with you as we head into the evening, but a very warm day expected for Saturday. And then we start to see the clouds roll in and the temperatures start to get back into that seasonal range. So 13 and mostly cloudy for Sunday. By Monday, we're seeing a mix of sun and cloud. Monday, Tuesday, we could start to see a little bit of that mixed precipitation as well. So 9 degrees expected on Monday, Tuesday +7, and by Friday, around a couple degrees cooler than the average, 5 degrees and a mix of sun and cloud. Very strong winds also expected by Tuesday and Wednesday. But if we focus on the rest of this week, and most importantly that Saturday, Cole, we're looking at some very beautiful temperatures to round out October.
Saturday looks fantastic, but it won't be long until we start having that Halloween forecast on the 7-day either, which is really hard to believe. October has just flown by.
I think everyone's in agreement with you there, Cole. November, who knows? I don't even want to jinx it that the rest of this year is about to go quick and we're going to be in 2026 soon.
Whew. All right, well, we won't think about that just yet. But
fair.
Thanks, Sabine.
You bet.
Well, the high cost of Halloween candy this year is turning sticker shock into sticker fright for some. Rising prices and smaller products are sending shivers down spines as shoppers look for tricks to save on treats. CTV's Alexandra Halik speaks with a food economist to unwrap what's becoming an unwelcome surprise.
Creepy costumes may not be the scariest sight this Halloween.
Chocolate's skyrocketing.
Candy costs are soaring to haunting heights. According to a report from the Agri-Food Analytics Lab, Canadians are spending 10 to 20% more on treats this year. And experts say the trick is shrinkflation.
Products get smaller without the price going up, so it's a way of hiding price increases.
Mike Von Masso is a food economist at the University of Guelph. He says cocoa and sugar prices are on the rise, and consumers are on the hook.
Anything that has chocolate in it is getting more expensive, and the price of sugar has gone up. Part of that was driven by U.S. tariffs on other countries and Canadian retaliatory tariffs on the U.S.
And while those retaliatory tariffs have since been dropped, in-store prices are still going steady.
We might not see the price relief from the removal of those tariffs until after Halloween this year.
For this shopper, the sticker spook is nothing new.
It's got to the point where last year I wasn't even going to have Halloween.
She says she still wants to hand out treats, so she made a switch.
I purchase now is only chips. That's it, and no chocolates.
The potato chips are actually cheaper than they were a year ago. So you could, I expect some Halloween bags will have more potato chips in them than they do in the average year.
But for those hoping to stick to sweets, Von Masso says waiting may be worth it.
I think watching for those specials as we get closer to Halloween, if demand is down, we might see them.
Alexandra Holick, CTV News.
Still ahead, Lee Jones and Wes Cates will bring you this week's edition of X's and O's ahead of the Riders' regular season finale.
consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
And welcome to another edition of X's and O's with Wes Cates, myself, Lee Jones, and Wes. Final regular season game. We know the Riders are going to finish first, but other than that, in the West, we know BC can finish anywhere second to fourth. They could cross over. Winnipeg can finish third to fourth, so they could cross over or be on a road in the West. And we just know Calgary is going to stay in the West. We just don't know whether they're going to host or be on the road for that Western semifinal. So this week, there's a lot on the line, except for Saskatchewan. So for you, how do you want them to approach this ball game?
You know, the Riders, it's going to be a situation where do you look at it like, okay, BC's likely going to be playing for something. I know it's the later game in the weekend, or Calgary will have played already, and so BC will probably have something to play for. I'm sure Calgary's going to try to get a win. So I think it's really a situation for the Riders where maybe you throw in the starters for a quarter if you know you're going to get BC starters. But really, at this stage in the game, I would probably just sit all the guys. But if you want to get a little like dicey, get a little information, get your starters all prepped so that they don't have as long of a time off, kind of get them in there for that first quarter, bang against the BC first team and see kind of how you stack up, maybe and get an idea for what's going to go down in the Western Final potentially. But you'd say that, then you mess around and come out with a win. Now you're maybe playing against somebody else. So I think the safest bet is to kind of just sit your starters, come in healthy, and then let it play out. You know who your opponent's going to be based on likely not being able to beat BC with the second place guys.
See, I'm in a different boat. I feel like they need to start everyone unless they're injured. So if you got a guy that's nicked up, say, we'll see on Dante Myers, but if he's like 80, 85%, okay, I might rest you just because I want you 100% for the playoffs. But I would like to see the starters go through, look good, especially on the offense, just because it's kind of been here or there. And if it's third, fourth quarter and they're looking good, then maybe play some guys. But with that bye next week, I mean, that's a long time since meaningful games. And as a football player, does that affect you if it's almost like a month from a meaningful game to a playoff game?
I think it does. I mean, obviously this far into the season, it's going to affect you a little less. I mean, it's a mental game up to this point. Everybody's banged up, right? So that little bit of edge you can get from healing up. And I mean, I don't even know if a month is going to really get you completely healed, but it's definitely going to have you feeling fresher than your opponents going into that playoff game. So I would say that you kind of have to weigh it. Do our guys need that experience? Do they need to maybe get the win to force BC over to the East or, to an away game in that Western semi? Or do you just go ahead and say, you know what, let's give our guys, have them as fresh as they can, and let's just really work at it at practice, make sure, we can install some new things, we can have some wrinkles in there, and know that guys are going to be prepared and fresh and ready to give it their all.
Defensively, I just wanted to talk about what, especially against a guy like Nathan Rourke, what I will be interested to see is how well they play against this BC offense that has really moved the ball the last couple weeks. And more so, can they keep Rourke in the pocket? He's a guy that can run. I'd like to see them, in the future, whether it's him, maybe a Vernon Adams that might run, how good they are keeping that quarterback from getting out.
I think if there is a defense that can contain Nathan Rourke, it is the Riders. But, I mean, he's shown that he's maybe uncontainable. He kind of moves around in the pocket. He's kind of feeling the pressure well, especially this last month. He stepped up. We just saw last week he just ran a 70-yarder and made it look easy. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where you're going to have to keep him off schedule, really cover down on the back end, and try to run some stunts. I would like to see them continue to kind of blitz the linebackers. I've seen A.J. Allen and Brooks are getting home, Brooks Jr. getting home, and so maybe a few more blitzes at Nathan Rourke just to, hey, we'd rather have you getting it out of your hands quick than, coverage getting further and further back. Then all of a sudden you're just running us to death and just have our guys chasing you all day. So I would say send the pressure, make him kind of make the quick decision. Hopefully we can get some tips or overthrows and get a couple turnovers that way. But just sitting back and letting him run around is probably not ideal.
Yeah, so it might not mean anything in the standings, at least for the Riders. Means everything for every other team that seems to be playing this week. But it'll be interesting to see how they match up against this Lions team. Could be a preview or it could be a warm-up for another team. We'll analyze this game and then look forward to the Western semifinal on another edition of X's and O's.
X's and O's, brought to you by Campion College at the University of Regina.
Individual award nominees for the 2025 CFL season have been unveiled ahead of the final week of the regular season.
Trevor Harris and the Riders down by 3. Late first half, throwing here. And it's caught and more.
Quarterback Trevor Harris headlines Saskatchewan's nominees as the team's most outstanding player. In 16 games this season, Harris has thrown for more than 4,400 yards, 24 touchdowns with just 11 interceptions. Linebacker Jameer Thurman is the Riders nominee for most outstanding defensive player, while A.J. Allen is up for most outstanding Canadian. In total, 6 Riders are up for awards this year. Let's take a look at them now. Jamarcus Hardrick for most outstanding offensive lineman, Peyton Collins for top rookie, and Nick Weeb, a former U of S Husky, for outstanding special teams player. Team award winners advance to a second round of voting to determine who will represent the West Division, which will be announced on October 30th. The division finalists will go head-to-head at the CFL Awards, the marquee event of the Grey Cup Festival, on November 13th. The Western Canadian Baseball League's Swift Current 57s have hired a new coach. Jared Franklin will be taking over. He has nearly 3 decades of experience, most recently as the head coach of the 18-under AAA Parkland Expos based out of Yorkton. Swift Current has not made the playoffs in the WCBL since 2023. Coming up, a special milestone for a Saskatoon support group that offers hope and healing for cardiac patients.
Let's take a look at what your rural forecast is looking like heading into tomorrow. Same story as what we've been talking about. Warmer than average temperatures, getting into the double digits for many. We're still going to start the day with a little bit more cloud cover, especially for the East Hudson Bay. Also expecting to start the day with some fog before that clears and we are left with more sunshine. Also, the temperature is a little cooler for Hudson Bay. 9 degrees is the expected high tomorrow. But then you take a look at areas like Outlook 16, mainly sunny. Kindersley 14, mainly sunny. 13 for Wynyard, Watrous and Lloydminster 12, along with Melfort and Meadow Lake and Spiritwood 11 as the high. For temperatures closer to, or areas closer to the southern border, some warmer temperatures also expected. Areas like Assiniboia Leader expecting to get up to 16 along with Coronach, 17 for Maple Creek, 15 for Rosetown and for Rockland, and 13 for Carlisle, Broadview, Pilot Butte, and Lumsden. If we take a closer look at Duck Lake, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel, located about 95 kilometers northwest of Saskatoon. Tomorrow, a sunny day and above average day for Duck Lake. 11 degrees is the expected high. However, it will probably feel closer to about +9.
Well, residents in southern Saskatoon may notice some smoke in the air. This fire is part of a fire training exercise and prescribed burn activities planned for Chief Whitecap Park, Cranberry Flats, and the Beaver Creek conservation areas. More similar prescribed burns are also planned for Wascana Centre in Regina sometime this fall. A program in Saskatoon offering hope and healing to cardiac patients is celebrating 40 years this month. Carla Shinkarak reports.
Oh, I'm here 5 days a week.
Terry Usick and Cliff Marchuk are here at the Fieldhouse getting some exercise. But what brought them here is much more than fitness. They've faced the fight of their lives.
They did a blood test. 5 o'clock that afternoon, I got a phone call from the doctor, and he says, you need to call 911 and go to the hospital. You're having a heart attack.
I failed a stress test and went to emergency a couple months later, and they took me in and thought it was the stents would fix my problem. It turned out to be a triple bypass.
Now they're helping others because they're part of the volunteer-run Coronary Artery Rehabilitation Group, or CARG.
Life doesn't end once you have a heart condition. What CARG offers you is fitness, fellowship, and health.
CARG members come together here for fitness and are also connected with any special services they need. They also visit patients in hospital, sharing their stories.
And we say, hi, my name is Terry. I had a heart attack 7 years ago, and I was where you are. The day that they're in a hospital recovering from either a stent or open heart surgery is one of the toughest days of their life.
CARG has been been doing this since 1985. They're celebrating a big anniversary.
Over 40 years, we've helped over 5,000 people. Right now, our membership is well over 400.
The program is one of a kind. They even get inquiries asking for advice to start a similar group in other cities across the country.
We're unique to Canada. There are programs similar, but we're unique because we're all volunteer-driven. Everything we do is raised, the funds are raised through membership dues.
So with every step, this group proving that healing is stronger when shared.
I love going and talking to people, and they're so enthusiastic. So does it lengthen life? I'm going to say yes, it does.
Carla Shinkrook, CTV News, Saskatoon.
All right, taking a look at the markets, the TSX was up about 94 points today to 29,982. The Dow Jones down 334 points to 46,590. As for the Canadian dollar, that was up a little bit again today to 71.51 cents U.S. as it continues a bit of a climb this week so far. Commodities, gold was down $26.80 an ounce to $4,098 per ounce. West Texas Intermediate crude up about $1.26 a barrel to $58.50. Western Canadian Select crude up 16 cents to $45.07 per barrel. Gas prices in Regina, the most common you'll see is $133.9. The lowest you'll find is $105.9.
Gold hit a high on Monday of close to $4,400 US an ounce. On Tuesday, it started to sink. The precious metal dropped more than 5% yesterday, which was the steepest one-day price drop in a decade. It lost another 1.5% earlier today before starting to recover. But gold has had a banner year overall, gaining over 50% as countries turned away from the U.S. dollar and towards gold as a safe haven. There's a long list of vehicles being recalled this month in Canada, from Toyota to Tesla and Ford to Fiat Chrysler. More than 100,000 vehicles are on the list, with recall notices for everything from batteries to brakes. Owners will get notified in writing if their vehicle is affected. And Tesla reported third-quarter revenue of more than $28 billion as American customers rushed to buy electric vehicles ahead of a credit expiring. But Tesla's actual earnings were down year over year. Tesla blames higher spending on AI research and development and fewer government credits as reason. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
All right, coming up tonight on CTV, we have The Floor, followed by Shifting Gears. That's that Tim Allen sitcom.
Yeah.
Then The Amazing Race. This is the international one. And then Georgia and Mandy's First Marriage, of course, a spinoff of The Big Bang Theory, which we don't have tonight.
I love how you're just giving a synopsis of whatever show.
I watched the networks. What can I say? All right, well, we're waiting for a pretty big concert announcement here in Regina. It's not this band, but as Oasis continues its reunion tour, fans now have a chance to pick up some unique pieces of the band's history.
It's the biggest Oasis collection of music memorabilia to ever come to market anywhere in the world.
So over 100 items from Oasis are on offer as part of a larger music auction in London this week, expected to bring in over $5.5 million or more than that. So among the items are, of course, the Oasis keepsake, including lyrics, instruments, Noel Gallagher's red Gibson guitar, which Liam Gallagher famously damaged on stage in 2009. So there you go. A lot of items for sale. So even as a new legislative session begins, we had a chance to honor one of our very own at CTV today.
Wayne Mantika, a familiar face for TV viewers across the province, is marking 50 years with CTV News Regina this week, also known as CKCK TV, during his tenure, which started all the way back in 1975. Today, Bell Media, parent company of CTV News, formally recognizing the milestone by presenting a Bravo Award, the highest honor any Bell employee can receive. Wayne's covered, of course, everything. From major trials to provincial politics, including the opening of the legislative session today, leading the newscast and ending the newscast. That's a Wayne sandwich. That's all we have for
Perfect
tonight.
way to end it.
Take care.
Aww.